connecting right now. Hello, Max.
Hey, I've got the bill with me.
Hey, Billy. How you going?
What's
How?
up? How you doing?
He's so beautiful. How you doing there?
Ives, do you want to say hello? Oh no.
I was a little bit shy, but Billy. Hey, Billy. How you doing?
Hi. Yeah, pretty good.
He is so adorable. I love him. I just want to eat him. The cutest. How you
All
doing,
right,
Max?
Billy, you go off. I'm just going to send Billy off into the other room to go play with his toys.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. How are
Thanks
you?
so much. Very well. Thanks so much for joining us on this Sunday evening.
It's a pleasure.
Yes. How are you spending your time in isolation?
Oh, good question. Doing a lot of singing. Doing a lot of gardening. Like everyone seems to be gardening.
Yes.
Um, Tending to my plants.
Nice.
And we got some new wallpaper. Do you want to see our new wallpaper?
Yes, I would love that.
It's clean enough. All
Yes.
right. Ready? Okay. Check this out.
Oh,
How cool is that?
it's
It's got,
amazing. It's an
it's an opera
orchestra.
house.
Opera house.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's
And
so cool.
I've got a mirror in my room to make it look bigger as well.
Oh, you've got a concert hall in your bedroom.
Yeah, I do.
I love it. And you have two kids,
Yeah.
so spending
I've got
time with
two
them.
kids.
Yes, spending time with them in isolation must be amazing.
Yeah, I think people don't realize like that's 15 hours of the day gone. So when I say I've been doing lots of singing, that's like the other hour. Yeah.
Hats off to you.
How? What?
But hats off to you to looking after your
Hats
kids.
off.
Like, yeah, like it's amazing. Like, your kids are
I thought
just
you said how soft
adorable.
are you?
No, never.
Yeah.
Yes. So busy with isolation, two kids, performing. Um, you're perfecting your voice, obviously.
Yeah, we've been releasing some recordings. I got onto one of my hard drives the other day and I found like 100 other recordings, and I've sort of been slowly releasing them on YouTube.
I have been loving them. And
Yeah, and I
guys, you
might
haven't.
release them on Spotify soon. Yeah.
Yes. So you're a reclaimed countertenor. Can you explain to us countertenor?
Well, a countertenor is basically someone who sings in a falsetto head voice. So uh, we've been around for hundreds of years. We came along in the Middle Ages when they needed men in their choirs to sing the high parts, when they didn't have enough boys, or when obviously they weren't using women.
Yeah.
And it's basically just the natural place for the voice to go to when you're singing. When you need to sing a higher line in a choir, and then it got turned into like a really sophisticated art form where where it started to be performed in Europe's concert halls in the Baroque era, and then countertenors and castrato and things became superstars, and we've been around ever since. Yeah.
So how many years are you going back?
Oh, I suppose we're going back to the 12th century or something. I mean, as far back as I know, when I studied over in Basel, they were talking about the countertenors being in those very, very early choirs. So in those old medieval churches, and when they were singing Gregorian chant, and then so then after that, a couple hundred years later, they turned into like operatic singers, and they were in sort of competition with the castrato, and they sang a lot of those roles that Handel wrote and Vivaldi wrote and Hasse and all those Baroque composers. And then
Yes.
they went out of fashion in like the classical era, the Romantic era, and women started to take over, and they got all of the big roles, and yeah. But now they're
Mate,
yeah.
thank God for that. Hey, we're getting some requests about you singing a song for us.
Oh, okay.
So I was hoping we can get the song first, and then we get into some more questions with you.
Okay. Well, I just ate a really hot chili, so maybe
No,
it'll be a little bit odd. But
we don't mind.
yeah. So my speaking voice is like a baritone voice. So like, ya da 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 da, and then it would go into do 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 like that. That's the falsetto. Yeah.
Amazing. I
And
love it.
yeah, I'll try and sing something at the piano if
Yes.
Billy chills out eventually.
Hey,
I think it's
hey,
getting a bit hard.
Billy can join in. It's family affair.
Yeah, Billy's got quite a nice singing voice. I've been
Yeah, really.
singing along to a few of my things, but yeah.
Awesome.
So like yeah, and then I started to sing in the countertenor voice with 1950s music, in my cabaret shows
Yeah.
and I picked up some Elvis tunes and started experimenting with this kind of Baroque sound and then put it together. But yeah.
So tell me a bit about your musical background. How did you get into music?
Um, well, I mean, I started when I was about 7 years old playing the trumpet, and it was always kind of my life dream to play in one of the big American symphony orchestras, playing trumpet. And I just had this thing though that I would get really, really nervous playing the trumpet, and so I basically started singing, and I found that really, really, you know, effortless. And I joined my first choirs when I was like 10 or 11, and then I went overseas like a couple of years after that, and just kept on singing. I sang from like 11 or 12 was my first professional gig, all the way through to now. So
Uh,
yeah,
and about you got a musically prolific family.
yeah,
At the age of 10, you played trumpet at the Prince of Wales.
yeah.
Tell me a bit about that.
That was awesome. I mean, I remember playing that, and I didn't actually believe that I'd done it.
Yeah,
Like until a couple of days later, because it was just like this insane roar of the audience, like Prince of Wales. I don't know, I guess it's not that many people, but they're just so rowdy, and like the energy is insane in there, or it was, it must have been, in the early 2000s with the canopy
yeah.
by then. Crazy.
So,
And yeah,
so
they were just, yeah,
give it a little background. Your brother Felix is the lead singer of the Cat Empire.
yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, he invited me to do quite a lot of his gigs.
At
In
the age
fact,
of
he
10.
brought me. I think he brought me home my first trumpet from his music school, and yeah, and so he had me along to the Prince of Wales, the Forum, all the places they were playing back then, and so I got to have that insane experience of playing to crazy crowds, and uh, yeah, it was amazing. Yeah,
Yes, we're having some great questions here. Your cover of Karma Police is amazing.
thank you.
And so, yeah, that's, I feel like I could wear the Trouble YouTube channel for that song. I
Oh,
love
awesome,
that. And
awesome.
that's where I first saw you play live, which is part of the Melbourne Cabaret Festival, which was at Chapel of Chapel.
Yeah.
Big shout out to the guys at Melbourne Cabaret Festival. Um, how did you like you've been playing like world renowned concert halls, uh, Royal Albert Hall. You come back to Melbourne. How did you think of doing your own shows and getting out of the and getting into the spotlight by yourself?
Yeah, I think it was just this awesome experience going over there and playing in all these different cities, and singing in that very strict form, like we were singing
Yeah,
really Baroque opera, or I was singing in churches, because in the Baroque era there's like the sacred and the secular, and that was my bag for those years, and I was doing a lot of that music, and then I just came back to Melbourne and I thought, oh, I just really wanted to mix it up a bit, I really wanted to I really wanted to do something interesting because I think as a classical or a Baroque musician, you feel like you need to be so true to your art form. I'm sure like classical ballet dancers feel the same. Like they just,
Yeah,
there's, on the one hand, it's great because you focus on your craft, but on the other hand, you're in a straitjacket and you go, my God, like this is all I can do. And then I sort of, I remember sitting in music school early on and going, there's so many similarities, like across, 500 years of music. Like the essence of what makes a great song was the same then, you know, with like Monteverdi being the king of, 145. And that's sort of stuck around, you know, for a long, long time. And I just thought, what are the similarities here? What's the similarities between Baroque music and Elvis, like, and I could
yeah.
hear it, but I didn't quite know how to translate that and make it speak. So at first it was an experiment to try new colors. And then I just started to find this more and more sort of seamless way of weaving the two structures together and weaving the two sort of sounds. And I just thought it was so important to not just sing inside this box forever, even if people thought it was odd or something. I had to find a way of of basically the simple sort of sending out the simple message that good music is good music, and we're all capable of, speaking that to each other.
I was completely blown away by your performance of Hard to Handle during the Melbourne Cabaret Festival that I had to have you back for a Chapel Summer Session gig, which was last year in early January. And it was such a beautiful performance seeing you change Kate Bush's song Running Up the Hill to
Yeah,
your own version, basically. It was amazing. And those shows taught me so much about music. I don't have a really great classical background. So going into your shows, I feel like I'm getting educated on all these amazing artists and performers and genres. And I thank you for that.
It doesn't hurt me. Do you wanna feel how it feels? Do you wanna know that it doesn't hurt me? Do you wanna hear about the deal we're making?
yeah. I mean, it was such a pleasure to play there and to play to like a new audience as well. That's been amazing. But I guess, yeah, at the end of the day, I want people coming to the show to know that they're welcome, that they're so
Yeah,
welcome, and that there's no such, no one knows that much. People go around in our industries, and they act like they know everything, and I get that, that's like they do know a lot, but at the end of the day, it's for everyone, and I want it to really come to life for everyone, and I think if you tell the stories really well and you
yeah.
translate what you're saying, I think a lot of singers have that duty to basically make sense of the story and to make it come alive for people. Yeah, we're really storytellers at the end of the day, I guess. Yeah.
Absolutely. You do it so well. Like you do it seamlessly. Like, and I,
Yeah,
I
some
just,
nights I don't feel like talking though. Some nights I just don't say anything, and people get freaked out because
it,
just falsetto.
how do you how do you choose the music that like you do this beautiful crossover between classical and popular music? How do you choose the songs that you're going to put in your repertoire? Like Karma Police, Running Up the Hill. Is it a process?
Yeah, I guess sometimes you're working with colors, like I guess like a painter or something, and you're thinking it's just a sort of like it's just a series of textures that you're working with, and you think this goes with this, and this is just perfect. But often you want there to be a bit of a thread, and you want to find the similarities that people will just instinctively feel. They won't actually actively, it won't be sort of force fed to them, but they'll know, oh, that's something's the same there, or something, I can feel that kind of connection. So often when I'm picking the pieces, I pick pieces that have the same sort of vibe, you know, like we'll have the early English music and the folk songs coupled with, you know, Henry Purcell and with, you know, Dowland and then find, you know, the great composers of contemporary music like Radiohead, you know,
Yeah.
who are just like as close as you could get to the great, you know, Baroque or classical composers in terms of just their sophistication and the colors that they use. And that in itself is a story. That in itself is like an epic. But then if you find things that really fit together, that's also something magical, you know, like when a folk song fits in perfectly to a pop song and you think, well, some guy with his lute walked into a tavern, you know, 400 years ago and sang this to a bunch of people, and now I'm doing that, and then I'm doing it with something that's completely contemporary, you know, that's also really cool. Yeah.
It's so unique, and uh, just loved it, loved it. And I'm so glad you're releasing your new tracks on YouTube as well. Like we're getting, what's your favorite track that you just released on YouTube?
I just did the Corpus Christi Carol. So
Yeah.
we drove out to this studio in the country, and we did a series of just live takes of some really great songs, and it was very raw. And we were playing with a 1950s Yamaha C7 piano. It was very rustic, the whole thing, but the whole sound of the recording's really eerie and really kind of exactly what I wanted. And so the Corpus Christi Carol by Benjamin Britten, we did that, and that was really great. And we're also releasing some of our own compositions over the next couple of months, hopefully. So that'll be great too.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to that. And how did the Cold song come about?
Yeah, well, that's like one of the
The,
most epic pieces that I know of.
yeah.
That's about this cold genius or spirit of winter who freezes again and again to death, and he lives this terrible story of torment throughout, you know, eternally, and you have to somehow perform that to a group of people, and the music is so well written by Henry Purcell that you actually just freeze, you know, when you're listening to it. You know, it's like ice is in the room, and I can only credit Henry Purcell for that.
Well,
But
your version is my favorite. I'm not saying that because I'm biased, but we've released it on our Chapel of Chapel YouTube page.
yeah,
If you're watching there, go check it out. It's phenomenal.
yeah. Oh, thank you.
So what music inspires you now?
I don't know. I think every day it's something different.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like it's really weird. My music tastes are really bizarre, and you know, it sometimes goes with whatever mood you're in. You know, and
yeah.
like sometimes I listen to like 1920s or 1930s music, and I think that's amazing. Sometimes, you know, I went through a big phase of the kind of industrial Northern England 1980s music when I was a teenager, and that kind of shaped me a lot. Uh, and and then I listened to all that other Baroque and classical stuff, you know, and that's kind of a nice little way to break it up because you don't just want to have this one genre coming in. You know, you want to feel everything. I was listening to Monteverdi the other day, and then I was listening to
Amazing.
Ozzy Osbourne yesterday, then listening to Billy Idol and listening to Smiths and listening to you know, jazz. I don't know. It's just I think like I notice patterns in music, and it's getting more and more fun to listen to music with a little bit more knowledge, where you can go, oh, you know, that's descending fifths, or that's like that sounds just like Vivaldi, you know, like Mr. Crowley by Ozzy Osbourne. You know, I listen to the start, and that's like the Handel Saraband, and then the end of it is like Vivaldi aria, and it's like the most incredible solos either side of that, and it's just awesome to listen to music and feel space and time just shrink into one small moment. Yeah, that's what I love. And it's like, you know, often I just listen to a track and I just I rewind the same 12 or 11 or 12 seconds again and again, because it's just like, it's like synesthesia. It just gives you this incredible feeling. Yeah, that's why I love music.
If there was a year of music that you could go back into and live that era in music and time, what year would that be?
Yeah. I reckon I'd go. I reckon I'd go like 1987 in Manchester. Maybe
Yes.
1980. Like 1985 is pretty good. Like slightly later 80s, because you still get all the best guys touring from like the past 20 or 30 years. So you could have like seen some of the 50s performers, or like
Yes.
if you're lucky, you could have seen, you know, Roy Orbison or something in his last years. And then at the same time, you know, you got all of the amazing English bands that came out of there. And, you know, like Stone Roses or Cure, or, you know, those guys, you know, there's so many of them, Echo and the Bunnymen. Like, I love that really dark sound, you know, really, really dark stuff. And yeah, but then, you know, there's so many eras, but I think that'd be the most exciting somehow.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
My year will
And
be definitely
you wouldn't have died.
1985.
You wouldn't have died of the plague or anything back then. So
We have a question there on Kate Crowley. Well, how's your family coping in isolation?
oh, pretty good. Ivy's just come into the room. Do you want to say hello?
Yes. Hello,
She's built,
Ivy.
she's built up her courage.
Hello. How you going, sweetheart?
So, Ivy,
Are you being a good girl? Yeah, you're so cute. Amazing.
Bye-bye.
Bye, darling. Nice to see you. So beautiful. So, yes. So we touched on what era of music you would love to live in, and it's the late 80s. How did Young and Beautiful come about?
well, yeah, that was kind of like when you watch, I mean, when you listen to the 1950s music, I think those composers, because like Elvis had all of his songs written for him, but I think those composers were really influenced by classical composers and romantic composers. So the structures are really pure and really simple, and the singing is really pure and simple, but it's kind of got the form of Baroque to me. It's like got the ABA and they never do the same thing twice, you know, like Elvis always changes things a little bit, and there's kind of just that texture and aesthetic that reminded me a lot. And also, like, there's something about the countertenor voice I think works
Yeah.
with the sound, you know, like the David Lynch movies, you know, when, you know, Blue Velvet or something. I mean, even though that's Isabella Rossellini singing, I just think like, wow, that's like designed for a countertenor. That kind of slightly eerie, haunting kind of music that's just a bit weird. It sort of worked with the voice. Yeah.
Yes, well, I definitely agree, and that is so beautiful. I was hoping you could share that with us tonight as a little live version.
Oh, my voice is going to be so hacked today.
Hey, we don't mind. We just love
Yeah.
your voice.
I'll just try and sing some a cappella.
Yes.
You're so young and beautiful, and I love you so. Your lips so rare, your eyes that shine, shameless stars that glow.
There you go.
Woo! I thank you for that so much. So, your year ahead, you had your full schedule of gigs planned, and we had a Trouble Summer Session return gig. Hopefully, we're going to get it back once we get the go ahead to move back into our theatres and progress. But what are you working on in the near future in our digital world? I hear that there's a Melbourne digital concert.
Yeah, I'm doing this thing called the Melbourne Digital Concert Hall, where a couple of amazing people are sort of putting this together for especially classical musos who've lost a lot of their work this year. And they're basically filming us in the Athenaeum Theatre, and there'll be just someone on video and pianist and singer, and they just do these, amazing recitals of some really good musicians going around. Some of my friends have been doing them over the past few weeks, and I think they've been really awesome. So
Yes.
I think our show's coming up in like 2 or 3 weeks. So we're
Amazing.
finalising the date, but yeah, I'll let you all know.
Yes, please do. And your YouTube clips are online as well. But
Yeah.
I also want to ask you, what advice would you give someone who wants to be a countertenor?
Oh, I don't know. It's probably, what advice would I give? I don't know. I think it's like quite a natural voice,
Yes.
You'll kind of know if you've got it. I think there's a lot of countertenors who really want to be countertenors who maybe the color isn't quite right. It's not quite round enough. So I think like if you've got like a mellow kind of round tone and it feels comfortable, make sure it doesn't feel uncomfortable and it sits right for you, and that you love it. You want to love that music. I think if you're doing any one of these careers, especially in Australia, like you've got to want to do it more than anything. Like you've got to basically have no other choice, and say to yourself, this is what I have to do. Like I just love it that much. And then you'll find a way, because if it's not that way for you, then yeah, you might as well do something else.
And totally, and it's persistence and perseverance, I guess, at the end of the day. We're turning 25 this year at Chapel of Chapel.
Amazing.
Yes, and what advice would you give to your 25-year-old self? Not that you're much older than that.
Yeah, geez, I don't know. I'd give my 25-year-old self a lot of advice. It's weird. It's a couple of years ago, but I don't know. I think more and more just people want to see the real thing. They want to see honesty, and they want reality, and they want freshness, and just to be honest, just be honest with yourself and with other people, and with your music, and don't try and please people, too much, and just be good, like just be really good to people, and don't get in a tears about things. There's really nothing to worry about. Just do it.
Let's do it. Absolutely. Well, that's fantastic advice, and I thank you for that. Hey, and I thank you for our time together tonight. You're an absolute legend.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
Yes.
And thanks,
And
Chapel of Chapel, and everything you've done. Like, I can't wait to be performing there again. It's just going to be awesome.
we can't wait to have you back. We just, so everyone wash your hands and stay home so we can get back to work and get live performances happening again. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Yes. And I thank you for introducing me to Baroque, and my first Baroque concert was with you. Our amazing friendship. Thank you so much.
Yeah, go listen to some Bach, everyone.
Yes, exactly. You're amazing and so talented, and I just thank you so much from the bottom of my heart that you came tonight and had a chat with us.
Thanks, Evie. That was such a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
See you soon. See you, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Thanks for watching, everyone.